What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Become a Local Leader. And on today's show, we have Shari McGuire, one of the authors in the new real estate business book, Becoming a Local Leader. And this book features 23 top producing agents who share their story and their strategies on how to grow one's business through relationships and referrals. And what you'll find is a lot of chapters, in particular Shari's. The agents talk about two parts of success. The first is the strategy. It's what do they do to help get clients and turn them into raving fans so they get referrals. But the second piece, which is typically more important, is this journey of self-development where the agent learns how to remove limiting beliefs, which usually are in place when you first get into the business. And those limiting beliefs hold you back from the success that you can and will have if you can learn to be a leader and be a top producer and a confident, competent agent. So that's the major question for realtors is one, what's the strategy? But two, who do I need to be and how do I get there? And Shari's chapter does a wonderful job explaining her journey. So I'm excited for you all to get to know her today and for you to learn from her and maybe some of these gold nuggets you can apply to your business today. So thank you, Shari, for contributing to the book and being on today's show.
Thank you, Grant. It's my pleasure.
So, this whole book project was, something for, a group of us in Park Bench to really tell agents, like, how do you do business through relationships and referrals? And how do you do it by being a leader of your community and give back to your community versus some of the typical ways that agents build their business or try to build their business, which is, advertising, cold calling, cold prospecting, the stuff that makes a lot of the public dislike realtors. Mm-hmm. So when you wrote this chapter, when you decided to be a part of this project and you wrote your chapter, you had a message that you wanted to give agents. What was that main message that you hope agents get from your chapter?
The main message I wanted agents to get, you've actually mentioned it already, it's really be who you are. Because when you try to be someone that you're not, people sense it, people pick up on it. And so you know what, there are people who are really good at knocking on doors and there are people who are really good at cold calling. They have huge businesses. I tried that, it doesn't work. And so I had to find what worked for me and what people will believe is me. And that's what everybody needs to do in order to be successful, I believe.
Say I'm a new agent and I'm trying to figure out, should I do cold calling? Should I do door knocking? Should I buy leads? Or should I be, applying some of the principles that you and other authors in this book have, more relationship-based, more community-based? How does one figure out which approach is right for them?
I think one of the things is trial and error. Just get out there and knock on some doors a day and not so much look at, am I good at it? It's, do I enjoy it? Is this something I would go out and do over and over and over again? Because you can get better at doing that. But if you're like, this really sucks, I don't want to be out here, then find something else. So I think you need to try a bunch of different things and then find the one that feels like you. That feels like, I'm authentically being me, and then I can get better at it because you're not going to be really good at something right away. And then I believe the leads will start coming from that. And you want a couple different avenues that you're getting leads from anyway.
Okay. So let's give people a sense of kind of who you are, because I'm sure some realtors will resonate and say, hey, I'm kind of like Shari. So why don't you give people a background of who you are and why'd you get into real estate?
Sure. So the shorter story is that I had been big corporate, walked away from that in 2010, tried a lot of different businesses and contracting, and then I was at a small firm and I got laid off, like happens to a lot of people. And then I was like, well, now what do I do? And so through a process of searching, a friend said, hey, you know what, you'd make a really good realtor. And I'm like, that's really interesting. She's a really good realtor, and she would tell you you'd really suck at it before she'd say you're really good at it. So, I trusted that advice, and I realized 10 years earlier I had gone to an information session to learn about becoming an agent, but I was working 80 hours a week, with a 2-year-old at home. I mean, I couldn't take on real estate too. So I just prayed about it, decided to just go for it, and took my exam, and boom, off I went.
A lot of people would have some fears and doubts and worries into making that leap. So what allowed you to make that leap? What made you make that leap? How did you have the courage to make that leap? Because a lot of people need that, or they need some maybe wisdom or to understand why other people have been able to do it in order for them to be able to do it. So tell realtors more. How did you make that jump?
It was a really scary one for me because my family depends on my income. My husband, God, I love him to pieces. He's not the primary breadwinner in our family. And so I needed to make money. And hearing the stories of so few people actually making it was really scary. And yet, honestly, I told people if I didn't do this, I didn't know what else I'd do. And I was just going to crawl under a bridge and give up. And that's how desperate I was, which is really sad. So I just had that determination to say, let's go for it. I surrounded myself with really good people who could teach me, and I'm a sponge. I just absorb everything around me and never gave up. That's the thing. A lot of people just give up. Well, giving up wasn't an option. I had to keep going because otherwise I didn't know what I was going to do. And this truly is a passion for me. I love it. And if you love what you're doing, then, you'll get there. Just have to keep plugging away.
How would you talk about your friend said, I think you should be a good realtor. How would you, if you were to give some words that your friends would use to describe you, that maybe is the reason why you have become a good realtor, what would you say?
I think it's about relationships. I would say for years, if I could just find a job where I can sit in a coffee shop and talk with other business owners and help them build their business, solve problems, and earn a living myself, that's the perfect job for me. Well, that's what this platform has allowed for me to get access to, because I can go out and help others and, earn a living for my family too.
Now, one of the things you said in your book, which I want you to kind of go on, because realtors, when they get in the business, they just want to get clients. They need to get clients. They need to start making some money. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, why would a homeowner choose me? And and how are they going to remember to think of me when they're looking to buy? Or how are they going to remember to think of me when their friend asks them, hey, who do you know as a realtor? In your book, one of the things I really liked was, people remember me not because I help them sell or buy a house. They remember me because I don't stop at the lawn sign. I literally have done hundreds of small things to make sure my clients are well taken care of. Mm-hmm. So let's go deeper into that. The goal is to get people to know you, like you, trust you, want to work with you because you did something for them, and remember you so that when they need a realtor, they think of you, or when their friend asks them, who do they know, they think of you. So what is your mindset around how to make that happen? So
it's a variety of things. One, being uniquely who I am, I just want to help. And when I get a client and I get engaged in their dream, I want to help them make that dream come true and be their consultant, working alongside them to finding that. And so when there are barriers in the way, I just jump in and try and solve that problem. Like one of my favorite stories, and actually this came up this weekend and is the reason why I had to have a new client, because I told that story on Facebook. Someone remembered it, and now her sister wants to move to town. But the story is that I was literally standing in a townhome with a client, and we'd found the perfect one. This layout was great for her, great location. And I was waiting for the agent to call me back, the listing agent, and finally get a call. He said, oh, well, the seller just accepted an offer. Well, great. So I sent out letters to the whole neighborhood. And one of the things I always say is, I'll find you something better. And we found her something better. It was more private, lots more trees, and it was in that same area. And, I just did the work that it took to get her something better.
It's a good line to give a client when things go bad. Hey, I'll get you something better. That really wasn't the end stop. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the other things you talked about, as you got into business for yourself, and that's a big change from being in corporate America, and getting out of your own way. People say that a lot. And so maybe you can articulate, what does getting in your way look and feel and sound like? And then what does getting out of your own way look and feel and sound like? Because how does one know if they're getting in their way? And how does one know that they're finally getting out of their own way?
Yeah, that's interesting to talk about the part of being in your way, because we don't think about that, talking that part, but it's about like, pieces to do, and it's like more comfortable, for example. So for me in my past, I've done a lot of administrative work. And so it's easy for me to go print up some mailing labels, or it's easy for me to create, and fun to create a little thing on Canva. And so when I'm working too much on that stuff and not out there lead generating and talking to people, that's getting in my own way, because it's kind of hard to do business when you're just sitting there by yourself. You need to be talking with people. And so then getting out of your own way is really, again, embracing that part of who you are, and time blocking is huge. I'm far from perfect at that. However, I'm working on that and getting good at saying, this is the time in which I'm going to be doing my lead generating, whatever that looks like for me, and sticking to that, because if I don't do something today, that shows up in 90 days in real estate. You've got to consistently do it to keep the business coming in.
I like that when you say that, it makes me kind of think, so you are a person, and you have skills and comforts and things that you find easy. And then you have this higher self that is where you want to go. It's the person that you are when you are having the success you want, having the business you want, the lifestyle you want, in all ways, shapes, and forms, not business and life. Mm-hmm. And this old self gets in the way of the new self. And you have to learn how to get comfortable being uncomfortable, to get your old self out of the way for the new self to come in, which time blocking helps, which goal setting helps with, which is being okay with some failure and making mistakes as you attempt to become that person. So as you said that's really what helps me summarize it, because it really is true. A lot of entrepreneurs and business owners get in their own way, and it's the current self is getting in the way of the new higher self that's trying to break through. Mm-hmm. Now, breaking through is, on every agent's mind when they first get in the business. They got no clients, and you talk about this. They got no clients. Mm-hmm. They need to get clients. The failure rate is extremely high. I think it's like 50% in their first year are out. I think 87% after 5 years or something, 95 after like 7 or something. Mm-hmm. So it's a really high failure rate. Why do you think that is? And if you were to give advice to a new agent who's getting into it and still trying to figure it out, what are some of the things you did to help you have some more consistency and stability?
Mm-hmm. So one of the things would be simply, I hate to say not working hard enough, but certainly just not committing to it and saying, I'm all in, I'm going to go for this, because you can't just say, well, let me try it this week and then next week not try it. And that's really hard for people who are doing it with their, still having a full-time job. That can be really difficult. And so you've really just got to get invested in it and understand it and keep going. I think of the cartoon where the man is like been digging through the dirt and he's almost there and he gives up. And I think that happens a lot to people where we're almost there. And I've done that many times myself, and you give up. And if you only could just tweak, so find a brokerage that will support you and will train you. And when you have problems, ask for help. Don't just try and do it yourself, because no one succeeds alone. You've got to just ask for that help. And then if someone gives you advice and they say, this is what you're doing and you need to tweak it this way, actually take their advice and give it a shot, even if it doesn't feel comfortable, because they know something. If they're making lots of money and you don't have any clients, there's something to be learned from them.
What you talk about that, the lack of training being a big reason why agents do fail, and I've seen it. Mm-hmm. What is the training that has been most helpful to
Oh, wow. It's interesting. The training. So I'm like this big training. That's one of my downfalls is I love to absorb all of the different training, but certainly one of the things that's been super helpful is following the 7 levels of communication process, because that's truly a relationship building. That's a book by Michael J. Mayer, and that's been really helpful. And the other training that has really helped, really, you can see it with Keller Williams, and they have great programs within that you can take. But really then too, it's taking the time to ask questions over and over, not the same question all the time, but like, I wonder how this works, and go find that answer. I wonder how this works, go find that answer. And I love what Park Bench has put together really for, I have a whole binder full of information that's really helped with that piece that was missing for me of turning these relationships into also business opportunities.
Totally. A big part of your story was, you recognized you had some limiting beliefs, you had some, negative thoughts, energies, things that were holding you back from having more success. Mm-hmm. And then you went on and you figured out some ways to get through that. QNRT being this cool technique or process that you went through. Can you describe that for everyone listening? Because that might be something that they want to try if they have a similar situation to you.
Yeah, so I think some people can overcome these barriers through coaching and things like that. And some of us have childhood traumas that are just so stuck and ingrained in who we are that you need that therapy beyond talk therapy. So this is quantum neural reset therapy, QNRT. Typically you'll find a chiropractor. And if you just type in QNRT, you'll find, people that are locally practicing that. And it's a reset and rewiring from your brain to your nervous system. And it's really truly a different kind of therapy compared to like EMDR. They're tapping into eye movements and things. So there's nothing weird hooey-fluey about it. It's for real, and it unblocks those things that you've been carrying with you, that it sets a new pattern. And it's not just once and done. You've got to go through a process of these. But truly, it's been life-changing for me to just shed some of that. Well, yeah, still more to go, but some of that stuff from childhood, and then you carry it into your life because you act a certain way.
Now you talk about time. People wish it was just, so easy and quick to get through it. How much time has it taken? Do you see it taking? How much time do you devote to it? Do you put attention on it? Give people a sense of what is that level of commitment, which then therefore means time. Mm-hmm. To break through and become, the person you need to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's as long as it's going to take for you personally, and you've got to just keep knocking at that door. It's again, that guy that's going through, because I've tried, talk therapies, I've tried coaches, I've tried all kinds of different things, and you've just got to keep going till you find the one that works. So QNRT, I started doing that last August, I think. And at that point, I started seeing some things shift in my business and truly start taking off from there. And it could have, I suppose, gone faster for me if I would have done it like every single week. But quite frankly, it's expensive. And so you got to do it as you can budget for it. And yet still here I am, so much better off for it. And so if it's something that people are just struggling to break through, and you've had a childhood trauma, in fact, there's a CDC, like, what is that, Center for Disease Control? They actually have a study on childhood trauma and how that affects people. And so they use that for this method. And, you've just got to keep going and until you get those breakthroughs. And then what'll happen for me is I'll get a breakthrough, and then I go boom, 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 boom. And because I'm becoming more and more aware of myself and what my blocks are, I go, oh my gosh, this is like totally holding me down. Got to go figure this out and get it out, reset that one. And then we go do a reset and, on to the next thing,
I think it's important for people to hear just the idea that, you keep trying to find the method, because it may be QNRT, it may be someone different. And
exactly.
if you really want the outcome, you just keep looking for the method that gets you there. Now, you have some strategies I know people want to know in terms of things that have helped you grow your business, things that realtors can implement to help you grow their business. What are some of the ones that you'd want to share with everyone listening?
So what I love doing is that relationship building. And so where I really began to find my stride was when the pandemic started. I created a Facebook group, and it was for the community, and we are doing nice things in the community, like teacher school supply drive, and we are talking about the community, supporting the small business owner, and getting out there and really understanding them. And so I had then created a website to go with that on my own, and I was interviewing business owners, local people, and it was a blog style that was going on, and I had the businesses on there. And then really what happened was I discovered Park Bench and went, oh my gosh, this is like taking what I've been trying to do and putting it on steroids, because look at all this stuff that they've built out that I can just tap into and become a part of this. And then I can go even bigger with what I want to do. And you look like you got your stuff together a lot more if it's got that professional look to it too. I mean, it was fine. It wasn't like the worst thing ever, but it's just so much better. And then the videos are great to put out there. And then, so I bring that, like, comes together with other things that I do. Then, like, I just had an ice cream social yesterday, gave out free ice cream. We had a charity partner of Best Christmas Ever, and a partner with Maple Grove Women of Today to raise money for Best Christmas Ever, to support a family who's having a really, really bad year through no fault of their own. Like, a child who's got cancer, or a mom who just passed away, crazy things going on. And that's the fun thing. And it rallies the community, and people are seeing that. And, guess who came to the event? The business owners that I've interviewed, the people on that Facebook group that have, enjoyed what I'm doing, the people that I also just talk in Facebook on my profile page. I ask lots and lots of questions. And sorry, guys, you won't be able to see those if you friend me, because all the realtors go in a special category. Because can you imagine having hundreds of realtors answer those questions? That would not work well for my for what I'm trying to do, and just being curious. And it's the whole be interested to be interesting, because I'll ask them questions, and there's times when I'm like, oh, that reminds me of when my son did blah, 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 and then barf all over them. And you can't do that. And I refrain, and I ask them more questions about that. And from that, people just plain reach out and say, hey, you know what, I need your help to buy a house, or I need, my sister's moving to town, or whatever it could be. And that's being me authentically, and it's working.
I think one of the things that I'm mindful of listening, that I know works for so many businesses, if you're going to build your business through relationships and referrals in a community, and you either already are active in nonprofits and PTAs and HOAs or community events and stuff like that, to have a Facebook page around the community, a platform online for the community, to then tie everything that you're then doing with all the businesses and the community groups together, is the great way to do it. Because if you're going to do all that work, you might as well be promoting it on the Facebook page, the community page, your personal page, and then use that as ways to then get more attention and more engagement on the stuff that you do. Now, you don't have to share all the questions that you ask, but if you could give the realtors one or two questions you think are really effective for asking their audience on Facebook to engage their friends, what would be a couple questions?
Yeah, so let me think of a couple that are really good. It's good when you start out and keep going like once a week or twice a week on this kind of a yes or no kind of question. So it can be Coke or Pepsi, or it can be coffee or tea, that kind of stuff. And people get very passionate about their beverage, and they'll say more than just the answer. They'll be like, oh, I can't get my day going until I have my coffee or whatever it might be. And so you gauge on that, and then you want to also like comment and interact with them. Other things that are really good. Yesterday I put up one. It was, which is older, you or your house? And so that was a really clever way to put in real estate without being a realtor. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay to put things in there once in a while. Another really big one that I did was, if I gave you $50,000 to improve your house, what would you do? And out of that, I got a client, because then they were thinking and they like, yeah, I really want to move. But you don't want to do that a lot, and mostly just make it relationship stuff, or what's something that your kid did, or what made you smile today, so sources, I'll tell you, Sign Up Genius is a weird source, but Sign Up Genius has 100 questions or so of like, here's things you can ask. Those work really well. And just get into curiosity.
Those are some great questions, because it really is about engagement. Engagement helps keep you top of mind, and sometimes non-real estate, probably most of the time, non-real estate oriented questions can actually get people to talk and engage. And now you're in conversation. Mm-hmm. And really, conversations are what lead to the conversion. It's what leads to that person using you and referring you. I love that. Mm-hmm. I want to finish with, your thoughts on why agents should pick up the book. So I'm an agent out there. I might be new. I might be in the business for 30 years. And I'm just thinking about how to improve my business. Mm-hmm. And here's this book that's not the typical, here's some sales scripts about real estate, or here's some, marketing strategies, or here's this like blueprint of building a team. It's a book on becoming a leader for the community. Why should realtors pick up this book?
I think, one, it's just interesting to read other people's stories. You can get inspired by what someone has come through to get to be successful, or to the level of success that they're at. So just number one, from curiosity, I'm excited to read the book and read everybody else's stories, because they're all such unique people. And so, but beyond that, I think that because there's a variety of people that are in the book, there's a variety of reasons and approaches and ways that they're using Parkbench as a tool to become that local leader. And so I think that whether you're brand new or you've been in it forever, you're going to get some really good ideas. And if you even take just one or two and run with those, that would really be helpful, because people think they should implement all 100 ideas that they read, and then it's overwhelming and they don't do any of it. So, look for the gold in that really fits you, a couple ideas, and go for it.
Yeah, I think there is, there's, when you go to a trade show, the majority of companies are advertising based. The majority of companies that call agents are trying to, sell them some form of advertising or lead buying or some coaching program. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of agents still are having a hard time resonating with a lot of that, because most people get into real estate because they like people, they like helping people, they like helping their community, they want to be more social, and yet they struggle to maybe find an approach that connects with them, that aligns with their personality and their values. And I feel like this book, they are going to resonate. If you're listening and you've struggled to resonate with some of the stuff out there and find like the approach right for you, I think there will be a realtor in this book that they will actually go, that sounds like me, that feels like me. I'm going to try what they're doing because it's working for them. So I want to thank you for being a part of the book and sharing a bunch of good ideas, including some extra ones today on today's show. And if people do want to get in touch with you, if they maybe want to join your team, or if they want to at least connect with you and learn from you, and maybe build a relationship with you for business in the future, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, a great way to get in touch with me would be email. So it'd be Shari at McGuireRealEstate.team. And then that's my website, the McGuireRealEstate.team as well. Or they could give me a call, 612-836-8505. I love helping people. So, happy to answer questions and go from there.
Cool. Well, if you want to contact Shari, there'll be links below this video. There's also a link to get the book, Becoming a Local Leader, so you can learn how to grow your business through relationships and referrals. The one thing that I've realized in life is that when you go out there and you take the responsibility on of trying to be a leader for your community, you actually feel more fulfilled and feel happier, and the money in the business works itself out. Mm-hmm. So subscribe to the YouTube show so you can read and listen to more of the interviews that I've done with all the other realtors, because I know that you will find some nuggets in this book and then through these interviews they'll help you with your business. So until next time, become a local leader. It pays and it's a ton of fun. Take care, everyone.